Hey, welcome back. Together, connect, create. I am your host, Megan Schultz, and this is the podcast where I love sharing stories about people who are gathering, connecting, and creating week after week to hopefully give you little nuggets of inspiration to try wherever you find yourself, because Lord knows we need more joyful gathering, connecting, and creating these days. Listeners, this is a fun story that I just want to tell in hopes that it inspires a little bit of gratitude for whomever you find yourself grateful for, because I want to share a story of what happens when we express our gratitude. So, a little before Christmas, my daughter and her friends on the block, a couple friends on the block, were playing after school. They were getting a little bit bored. And we decided that we would use the afternoon. It wasn't a super cold afternoon in December, surprisingly. We would put on jackets, though, and go door to door to collect some non-perishable foods. We have a little free food pantry down the block, much like those little free libraries where you can reach in and take a book. These are little free food pantries where you can take a can or a box of cereal or a toothbrush or whatever is in there. And we had just been learning in her brownie troop about the Street Angels here in Milwaukee, who are an incredible organization that work with the unhoused population here in our city. And so we had been talking at home about people who needed food and how we could help. And so the kids decided to take our wagon and walk around the 3-block radius of our neighborhood and see if we could get any food for our little free pantry. So we're walking up and down the street. Some people are coming out. Some people are giving one or two things. Some people are helping us fill the wagon. And we get to a house where a guy leans out from his window and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't have any food right now. I can't give you anything now, but give me your address and I'll drop something down after I go to the store." And I thought, well, I don't really know you, but okay. We're neighbors. I know where you live. So I gave him our address. And we carried on and we filled the wagon, which was really exciting. We walked all the way down to the free food pantry. We stocked it up so it looked nice and full and ready. And as we're getting back to the house, this guy comes running up to me and I recognize him. And he hands me an envelope. And on the envelope it says, "To the thoughtful kids on the block, thank you for thinking about your community. Please take these cans from Sally, who is his neighbor down below, and the cash donation from me to the food pantry when you go. Sincerely, Brett." And when we opened up the envelope, when we got inside, there was $50 in it. And I thought, wow, I don't think he realized that we were just dropping the cans off in the little free pantry and not actually taking them to the food pantry. So obviously I wasn't going to pocket the $50, so I went online right away and donated to Kinship, which is a local food community center and resource center and pantry. In fact, if you scroll back through previous episodes, you'll see I interviewed Caitlin Cullen, who is the chef for Kinship Community Cafe. And anyhow, I donated the $50 to Kinship and popped a note in the mail for Brett with the receipt, just showing him that I had done that in case I don't think he would have thought I would have pocketed it, but just in case, I wanted to also say thank you to him for that donation, and that was so kind. And a couple weeks later, out of the blue, I get a thank you note from Kinship to say, "We are so grateful for your generous donation to Kinship Community Food Center in honor of your neighbor, Brett. We love seeing neighbors helping neighbors. Your gift enables us to foster a space where people can come for groceries or a meal and leave feeling transformed because they were heard and seen and loved." And a little personal note that said, "Thank you for your specific gift." So I could stop the story there, and it would just be a beautiful cycle of gratitude and thank you notes and the importance of connecting with our neighbors in gratitude. But what I loved more about this story is that after the first paragraph of thanking me for the donation, which was lovely in and of itself, and it could have stopped there, she has a picture of one of their volunteers. And this woman, this volunteer on this picture, has 3 name tags. So you know I'm loving this already because you can go back and listen to my episode on name tags. And it says Randy is the first one. That's her name. And then the second one says here to, and the third one says listen. So Randy has told us her name and that she is here to listen. And I had to email them right away and say, please, can you put me in touch with Randy? I want to have her on my podcast to talk all about this beautiful idea of making it so public that what your role is to listen. But I just want to read you what this letter said about Randy. It says, Randy, a retired hospital chaplain who has lived in Milwaukee for 50 plus years, has been volunteering at Kinship for more than a year. Unlike most volunteers, she doesn't work in any particular department. Instead, she volunteers just by being present to those at the food center. Her extra name tags say it all. Here to listen. The simple act of listening has shown her how much loneliness people can carry and how deeply they appreciate being asked their name, being looked in the eye, and being understood. And I just loved this story. I love this story of a woman who herself has been transformed by the simple act of listening and connecting by being a person who puts themselves out there to listen. The letter ends by saying, your generosity not only sustains our efforts in feeding neighbors around the city, but also enables us to continue fostering these unexpected moments of community and connection. And if a story includes connection and community and places like Kinship where people can gather to find that, and neighbors and generosity and giving what we can and of our abundance, and if it includes name tags, you know it's going to be on this podcast. Wouldn't that be such a beautiful thing if we all walked around with name tags like Randy that said, here to listen? In fact, as I think about what is going on in our world, how divided we are, how disconnected we are, how sometimes in our own little silos we find ourselves, unable to understand the other ever, I am reminded how important those name tags could be. So, a challenge, listeners, this week, slap on a name tag that says, here to listen. Of course, you could just do this in your mind. You could just try to really remind yourself that you are here to listen. Maybe put one of those rubber bands on your wrist to remember if you're not going to actually put a name tag. But what if you actually put a name tag? Oh my goodness, I dare you to try it. And if you do, would you please, please, please send me an email and let me know what happens? Do people talk to you? Do people open up? Do people feel a sense of calm and a sense of, I can be myself, or I can open up? I can let my guard down? I'm so curious. Or even if they don't, what kind of conversation does it spark? I don't know, but I'm curious. For Randy, it says that this simple act of wearing these name tags when she volunteers at Kinship has expanded the world around her. She says, quote, I've met people of every color, every stripe, and every purpose. She even shares how these deeper relationships have become true friendships. So who knows what could happen? I dare you to try it, listeners. All right, I will be back next week. In the meantime, is there somebody you are grateful for? Is there a quick letter you could pop in the mail to let somebody know you see them, you hear them, they're important to you? Try that too. I'll be back next week with more stories of ways we can gather, connect, and create in community together. See you next week.